We're back with coverage of President Obama's address to the nation tonight, outlining an expanded role for the U.S. military in fighting the Islamic militant group known as ISIS. Our next guest is uniquely qualified to weigh in on the president's position, having been both a fighter and a diplomat in America's two major post-September 11th theaters of war. Matthew Hoh served twice in Iraq, where he saw combat as a Marine commander, before becoming a State Department official in Afghanistan. In 2009, Hoh resigned from that post, writing a blistering resignation letter, arguing the U.S. military presence in Afghanistan was a mistake that played into the hands of insurgents by providing an occupation force against which the insurgency is justified. He now worries America is about to repeat its many mistakes of the last decade as it expands its war against ISIS. And joining me now is Matthew Hoh, currently a senior fellow at the Center for International Policy. Matthew, you wrote a piece in the Huffington Post today arguing against expanding or engaging really in American military strikes against ISIS. What is your case?
Well, thank you for having me on, Chris. It's nice to be here. I was actually just reminded that it was 5 years to the day that I wrote that resignation letter, and I had no clue I'd be here doing this 5 years later. And it's really quite sad, because what I heard tonight from the president was the adoption of perpetual war as official U.S. policy. It's something that's been de facto for quite a period of time now. It's something we all have been living with and seeing. But now, as I heard the president speak tonight, that was my thoughts, was that we are now in a perpetual war. The mistakes we have made these last 13 years, whether they be in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Somalia, in Pakistan, in Yemen, we are going to continue to make this time again in Iraq. And I think, to your point, to the piece I wrote in the Huffington Post, my fear with the Islamic State is that we are playing right into their hands, that we are taking the bait. They executed 2 American journalists, and we are, as a result, in reaction, in a hyper-emotional state, not saying that those executions weren't heinous and ghastly, but in a hyper-emotional state, we are racing back into Iraq, which actually, if you look at what bin Laden said, one of Osama bin Laden's strategies was, he famously said, all you need to do is send 2 mujahideen to the far side of the planet, raise the banner of jihad, and the American generals will come racing, and they will exhaust themselves in human costs, political costs, and economic costs. And so that's my biggest fear, Chris, is that we're playing right into their hands. We're taking their bait once again.
The people that argue for intervention, either for the campaign that we've seen so far, the 154 or so airstrikes against ISIS targets, expanding that possibly into the future, you know, they basically say, yeah, we don't know if this will work, but doing nothing was no longer an option, as we saw this terrifying, marauding band of, sectarian killers sweep across a huge swath of territory, erase a decades-old border between Iraq and Syria, and possibly challenge the government in Baghdad. You can't just do nothing. The question is, how do you respond to that argument, which is kind of the strongest argument I feel that interventionists have right now?
Well, I think it's a mistaken argument. It ignores everything we've learned this last decade plus. Where is the evidence that our military-first policy, that are going on the offensive, as many in Congress would like to say about this, where is the evidence that has actually worked? And what is the ultimate goal? But in particular with Iraq, jumping back into this Iraq civil war, by going after the Islamic State, we are, in fact, entering into a sectarian conflict here. The Islamic State is aligned with the Sunni communities. The Sunni communities are aligned with the Islamic State because for the last several years, and really since 2003, they've been the subject of repression and persecution by the Shia-dominated government in Baghdad. What you've seen here in terms of persecution, what you've seen there is mass arrests, killings, disappearances, as well as the Sunnis being shut out of positions in the Iraqi security forces, out of positions in government, out of the revenue. So by jumping back into this conflict, by becoming the Shia Air Force or the Kurdish Air Force. We're taking one side, which will make the Sunnis even more desperate and will force them or cause them to align even deeper with Islamic State. This makes me feel, and we're looking at this, listening to what the president said tonight, I think what is going to occur is that we're going to see Iraq revert back into 2006 levels of violence, because I don't see really any difference between what the president said and what will occur, which in my opinion will be a Shia and Kurdish invasions of Sunni home territories, the Kurdish and Shia incursions into Sunni territory with American firepower backing it, which again will bring us right back to where the Iraqis were in 2006 with that horrible, awful, bloody civil war. With regards to Islamic State, absolutely, they're horrible, they're ghastly, they're barbaric. However, 500,000 people have been killed in one horrible, ghastly way or another in Iraq since 2003. 200,000 people have been killed in one horrible, ghastly way or another in Syria since 2011. So what makes the violence different this summer than the previous 11 years of violence different? I'm not sure. I think the average Iraqi citizen, the average mom and dad who are worrying about their children, I don't think they care whether their children's safety is under threat from Americans, from Shia, from Sunnis. It's just that the fact that these people have been living in a nightmare that none of us here in the United States can understand for the last 11 years. And the United States jumping back into the middle of conflict will exasperate it.
Matthew Ho, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.